Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And it's that market cycle that's reared its ugly head again. The bear market has resumed at this stage of the game as it appears. I was live streaming when it happened. If you guys don't know, I have a power hour service that I provide where every single day we go through the markets. And I was live streaming as this was occurring, and we decided to make it a public stream. So we switched over to the public, and you can see that video on my website if you want to check that out. And yeah, the market just continued to drop, started to rally a little bit. We did some analysis minute by minute. So if you want to kind of look real time how a type of a bottom is formed, you can go ahead and do that. But at this stage in the game, that was about 7 or 8 hours ago, maybe 6 hours ago. And this day is going to close in 10 minutes, and this candle is essentially made at this stage in the game. It's not a healthy candle for a bull market, not a healthy candle for us to go higher. This is actually a breakout candle to the downside, and this should consolidate and continue at this stage in the game. The video I posted last week regarding my overall market analysis still stands. Okay, it still stands. The analysis is what it is. The flaw in those charts, and I did mention this in the power hour, and I probably should have mentioned this in the video, and I did in one iteration of the video, but not in the one that I ended up publishing, is that I think the one flaw this chart has that some of those other charts didn't have, and I may have mentioned this in the middle of the video, there was no bounce and then a triangle forming like this, okay? There was no bounce with a kind of a bubble underneath it. Okay, and I think that's the main key here. So basically living lower, that descending triangle. And if you remember, I gave the statistics on the descending triangle, and the descending triangle is a 50-50 pattern. It's 45% accurate. And in this particular case, it broke out to the downside. So you should always wait for a descending triangle to break out before you trade with it. And this one broke out to the downside. So if you're waiting for that, congratulations. And for those members that did short this thing, congratulations. Now, what caused this break? I do believe, and I usually don't go into this very often, but I think the Bitcoin Cash hard fork coming up tomorrow is the most likely reason for it. Does it matter? No. It really doesn't matter why it happened. It did happen. Does it mean that after the fork we're going to reverse higher? I guess there could be a possibility of that, but I'm going to let the charts tell me what to do, and I'm not going to guess based on some assumptions and opinions of what the market will do. I'll let the market tell me what and when to do it. So the breakdown right here happened on what was a historically low volume period in all of 2018, which you can see there's 2018. This has historically been the lowest volume period we've had, with the average volumes in the 4,000 range. Even over here when we broke down from this pattern right here, the volumes were higher than that. Let me show you this trend line for those of you that don't remember that or weren't around back then. When we broke here, our average volume was 7,000. Today, our average volume was 4,000. So quite a significant decline in volume, actually almost a 50% decline in volume, and that's what results is a large move. Now, that doesn't always result in downside moves. We just happen to be in a bear market, and that technically is the most likely way for this to break, would be lower out of that. In the same way this broke lower here. Now, as we can see over here in this stage of the game, excuse me here. I remember when we broke in this stage of the game, we're like, okay, on with the bear market, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to go ahead and move lower, and I wholeheartedly thought that out of this situation, we were going to move lower. We had the low volume that had subsided. We had elevated volume coming back in, and this reminds me a little bit like that. This didn't quite roar to the downside. You can see there was a nice bounce right here. It did make another low before finally forming a head and shoulders pattern. I'm not quite sure what the future holds for this particular price action. We kind of have to let it play out. I really wouldn't want to play a hero down here. I would much rather buy this out of a nice pattern at 6,000 than try to bottom buy at 5,600. There's just too much unknowns. In fact, if you look to the right side of this chart, it doesn't really speak to you very much, does it? So a lot of conjecture out here. I don't like to guess. I really like to know what I'm doing. And as a matter of fact, if you guys go back, we had buy points at 6,400 and 6,850, and that led to a little mini rally. So we'll have to see what the future holds here. But I'm not buying any kind of bottom at this stage of the game. High volumes causes tops, bottoms, and breakouts, ladies and gentlemen. And at this stage of the game, this appears to be a breakout volume, and the breakout in this situation is to the downside out of the descending triangle. So look for some more price action in the future to kind of give you some kind of direction on where to go. Now, the rest of the market went down along with everything. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, and Ethereum as well. Ethereum looks a little bit different, though, than Bitcoin. We already know that Ethereum has already had a major down move from 14,000 down to about 160. And today, our low was right near this previous low. You can see all the major volume right there, putting it what some people are calling capitulation for Ethereum. If you zoom out, you don't really have capitulation. Capitulation is typically a singular event. It is not an area. It can be an area, and this would not be capitulation. This would be accumulation at that particular stage in the game. So while I do understand people want to use the term capitulation to indicate a bottom, that term would not be proper here, just if I could just say that for a moment. But the double bottom here in Ethereum, could that be the ultimate low? It's possible, but it's more than likely going to maintain these lows for a little while. It's probably not going to shoot right out of it. All right, now I will say this. After all of this, what could be accumulation volume, you do see quite a few selling candles here and here. And even on the bounce here, while people are kind of bullish on Ethereum, I will say this. We really need to clear this level around the 280 to 290, 290 to 300 level in Ethereum to be healthy in Ethereum. A buy down here is just an arbitrary buy. You have no expectation of positive price movement, no expectation that it will even gain in price. It can actually roll over lower from here without much fanfare. As a matter of fact, if Bitcoin does that, I'm assuming Ethereum probably will as well. Looking at some of the other top coins, XRP probably had one of the better days in terms of that. Look at the support right there on XRP. Now, XRP's mainnet is launching for the XRapid platform. The XRapid platform will use the XRP token. That could be what's keeping this afloat. You can see XRP well off of the lows here, about 81% off of these recent lows, where Bitcoin's into new lows. Ethereum's barely off of lows. Bitcoin Cash right here at $425. Major volume on Bitcoin Cash. Again, the hard fork coming up tomorrow. This could potentially be some bottoming volume. Could it be capitulation? Maybe. A little unlikely, but maybe. I don't have the full history here. This is a Coinbase. There's more history to Bitcoin Cash than this. If you remember, I think Bitcoin Cash came in September 1st, 2017, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's September 1st. I don't think it's October 1st. I think it's September 1st. It could be August 1st even, actually. And then at that stage of the game, there's obviously more price history. But regardless, Bitcoin Cash right here, still sitting near the lows at 400. A break of 400 would be pretty tragic and would mean much lower prices for Bitcoin Cash. And if the hard fork is that contentious and the network really does split, that could bode not well for Bitcoin Cash holders. I'd be very cautious here if you're trying to hodl this. And taking a look at one today that did not have a really good day, EOS. It has bounced quite a bit, but this was one of the ones to sell off earliest and to me seemed the most aggressive and didn't really bounce that much early on. Throughout the day here, it's bounced. However, at the same point in time, it's still holding down about 75% of the day range. And you can see right here on my chart, I've got the top 20 coins against the US dollar so I can peg them evenly against each other. And you can see most of them are down double digits. Some have bounced. Earlier today, they were all down double digits. And a few have bounced. You have XLM, which has bounced a little bit. You see the big wicks bouncing off of that longer-term trend line right there. You've got Dash, TRON, which is only 9% down, nothing significant. VET actually only 6% down after just having a horrible couple of months. VET finally getting a little bit of recognition down here. But again, right near these lows where most of the coins are sitting right there. So this is not a bullish move, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not very happy about this whatsoever in terms of the bullish sentiment to the market. I would anticipate consolidation and further downside action, but really let the market tell you what to do. If we go down to the smaller term time frames, volume is declining, indicating we're just resting from this phase of the game right here. We need to see what's going to happen next, and I'll probably have a video out for you when that occurs. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. If you do enjoy my content, please feel free to go ahead and check out my services on my webpage. We've got the Real Crypto Power Hour where we have a brand new daily newsletter that goes out with annotations and charts. We are still doing the daily live stream, pretty much the same we've done. We have the alert system through our Slack platform that you get access to as well with hand-drawn alerts by myself. as well as the custom indicators, which are the volume aggregator and the bars are. So you can go ahead and check that out if you guys would want to. Well, thank you for joining me today, guys. I'll see you next time.